Okay, so in this section, they want you to know how to enable and disable integrated peripherals and also configure systems to work with or without external peripherals such as keyboards. Now, to do that, what you do is you need to go into the BIOS. Now, when the system boots, usually there's a key combination that you need to press. Like it might be the delete key or F8 or F12, or there's lots of different options, but usually on the screen it will say to enter BIOS or to enter setup, press this key, and if you press it, it'll go into a setup utility. Now, this is a screenshot of an older BIOS screen, and if I go to the next page, I'll just zoom in a bit. You can see in the advanced section, you've got options in here for different devices like HD audio controller enabled. The front panel is HD audio, so you could change it to a different type. It's got like onboard 1394 controller. You've got the onboard LAN. You've got onboard Wi-Fi controller on this particular one. You've got all sorts of different things in there that you can turn on and off. So that's the integrated peripherals. Now, this screenshot here is of a more modern EFI BIOS, extended firmware interface. And you can see in here you can use a mouse and it looks a bit nicer. But it's a similar thing. When you go into the advanced section in here, you've got the HD audio controller that you can enable or disable. You can tell it whether you want it to be HD, or you can change it to a different, I think AC97. In here you got the VIA 1394 controller, you got the PCI Express set to auto, and you have some storage controllers that you can turn on and off in here, as well as some other things. So in the BIOS or the EFI BIOS, you can change the settings for the computer. So if you don't want the HD audio controller, maybe you have a USB sound device that you want to use, you can disable the HD audio so your computer will never see it. If you've got your own network, like Bluetooth controller, if you don't want the Bluetooth controller, you can disable it. So you can disable and enable things inside either the normal BIOS or the EFI BIOS utilities. Now, the same for the keyboard. Some computer systems don't like to boot up without a keyboard, and there'll be an option in either the BIOS or the EFI BIOS that will allow you to disable that, so you can boot the computer up without the keyboard. So that, I think, really is all you need to know about enabling integrated peripherals and disabling them, as well as configuring it to work without keyboards and such. Now, it wants to know about the difference between coldplug and hotplug devices. Well, a coldplug device is something that has to be plugged in when the computer turns on. So like the old PS2 keyboards and mice needed to be plugged in, where the modern USB keyboard and mice is hotplug. So you can plug it in and out whenever you want. So any USB device will be a hotplug device. A cold plug device would be things like the CPU and the system RAM and stuff like that. It has to be in the computer before you turn it on. Now, for most desktop systems, the hard drives will also be cold plug, but on a lot of servers, you can actually have hot plug hard drives that you can pull in and out on the fly. So hard drives can be either cold plug or hot plug, depending on the motherboard and depending on the system setup.